Well, welcome back to the Federal Retirement Show. I'm your host, Val Majewski with American Benefits Exchange. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us, to view our content, to check out today's episode. I will encourage you to check out our other content that we have. We've got over 140 episodes for you, the federal employee that's looking for information on your benefits and retirement situation. And it's very general in nature. It's not specific to you. There might be some parts that relate to you, but if you do want to go over your benefits in further detail, I'd highly recommend you go to our website, federalretirementshow.com, fill out the form. One of our experts across the country, if it's not me personally, will be reaching out to you, schedule time to go over your benefits and answer any questions that you might have, just get you all the information that you're looking for. But if you do like this, subscribe to our podcast, our radio show, get notified when new content is out, and do me a favor, share it with your colleagues. There are other federal employees that need this information just like you. Do not keep it to yourself. Don't be selfish. Share it with others. They need it too. They may not have found it the way you did, or somebody may have shared it with you. Pay it forward, share it with a colleague of yours. So that being said, I want to get into today's episode, and we're going to talk today about VERA. VERA is the Voluntary Early Retirement Authority. When you see a VERA, it just means, hey, there's an opportunity for you to retire early. There's some stipulations in there. I'll go over that. But this episode stems from a recent conversation that I had with a federal employee that was going through this, was anticipating possibly another VERA coming about, and wanted to go over the pros and cons of making that decision and to determine for themselves and for their family if choosing the VERA was right for them. Now, I'm going to give you my opinion on some things. This is not an end-all be-all. This is not saying that everybody who faces this situation should do this, but just hear me out, hear the circumstances. Maybe you agree, disagree. I'd love to hear your feedback, right? Go to our website. You can share that with us as well and tell me what you think. But when it comes to the VERA, right, we saw within this past year, we've had the deferred resignation. We've had some VERAs pop up. We've had some VSIPs pop up. We've had some circumstances and some things that came about that people had questions. People had concerns. What should I do? What's the right direction? And within our time today, we're going to go over the basic pros and cons of what the VERA is, number one. And then number two, is it right for you? You make the best decision for you and your family, but I'm just going to give you my opinion and what I generally discuss with federal employees that are deciding this. So without further ado, let's jump into today's content and talk about VERA pros and cons. What is the VERA and is it worth taking it? That was the question that I got. What is the VERA and is it worth taking it? Now, first of all, VERA, I said, is Voluntary Early Retirement Authority. Some agencies are given the authority to offer this. And what this does is allows them to reduce the requirements for retirement for eligible federal employees to take advantage of this. Now, normally you can go back and view our content on the FERS retirement system and the requirements that you need to satisfy in order to retire with full benefits from the FERS system. And I'm going to briefly go over those. So normally you have to be age 60 with at least 20 years of service, 62 with at least 5 years of service, or hit your minimum retirement age, your MRA, and have at least 30 years of service. MRA is between 55 and 57 years old, depending upon your date of birth. And those are the requirements that you need to satisfy in order to retire with full benefits normally. But when there's a VERA offered, those requirements get skewed a little bit. They get reduced, and you're eligible for an immediate unreduced pension if you are age 50 with at least 20 years of service, or any age if you have at least 25 years of service. You can leave immediately and not see your pension reduced, even though you didn't hit those requirements that I talked about earlier. So they reduced those. There's a couple of different caveats that we'll talk about, pros and cons, but that's what the VERA is. It gives the government the ability to lower the requirements temporarily, and there's normally a deadline for which you need to decide if you're going to do this or not, and then make that decision, and you usually have to be out by a certain date as well. Sometimes they also offer what's known as a VSIP with that, and that's an incentive payment that's given, and a lot of times it's around $25,000, broken up into two different payments. Usually in the first year it's $15,000, in the second year it's $10,000. There are taxes assessed to that, so it's not going to be the full 25 that you're going to get, especially if you're having the taxes withheld from that payment. So just understand they reduce the requirements under a VERA, and sometimes they offer an incentive payment along with it to entice people. That $25,000 generally is not going to go that far when we're talking about retirement and total benefit to you over time. And that's what I look at. When we talk about pros and cons, which one is going to work out for you in the long run? And is it worth taking a VERA? Now, a couple things here. If you absolutely 100% need to get out and you want to retire early and you're going to collect an immediate pension, and maybe you have your dream job, you have something else set up, and you're going to continue to work, and it's going to be another place where you can go to get a pension or save more for retirement, then maybe it's worth taking a VERA. Maybe. Again, everybody's situation is different. You win the lottery, you've got another dream job set up, you've got some other kind of gig that you're going to be jumping into that's going to be beneficial for you. Maybe it works out. Okay, perhaps. But in general, I don't recommend folks taking the VERA. And I'll get into reasons why here in just a second. So what I want to compare with you today is, what if I take the VERA? What does that entail? And then what if I stay till I'm first eligible for full retirement? So if you're a federal employee that's contemplating any kind of VERA that's offered now or in the future, and we compare that to your first eligibility for full retirement, you got to see how the numbers differ. Now, granted, yes, you have to work a little bit longer to get to that full retirement age, but what are the benefits for that? Again, we're talking about pros and cons. And this was the discussion that I had with this federal employee, and we went down the rabbit hole and we ran two different scenarios. What if you retire today under the VERA? What if you retire down the road when you're first eligible? And we compared the difference and talked about the difference. And there's a number of things that you have to look at and should consider when taking this. Yes, it sounds awesome. And again, this is my opinion. I'm not trying to steer you. It sounds awesome, though, that you can leave service immediately, unreduced pension. Unreduced, it's an immediate deal. You're going to start getting it, but it's going to be less than if you were to be at your full retirement age. And there's a couple other things that you need to take into consideration also. So first of all, what are the benefits of taking the VERA? Well, I just mentioned it's your ability to leave service early and leave and receive an immediate unreduced pension. It's not reduced because you're left early. You're not leaving early and you got to defer it until age 62. You are going to collect it immediately. Now, it's potential that you could also receive that incentive payment with it, that VSIP with it. And that could be generally around $25,000 broken up into two different payments. Okay, that might not be the driving force. You might just want to leave, but at least it's a little bit of an incentive, a little bit of a bonus, if you will, for leaving, if you already committed to doing so. You are still, in general, FERS supplement eligible. So people that leave early or take the VERA will generally, and rules could change, but generally be eligible for the FERS supplement because most likely you're going to be under the age of 62 when you leave early. The problem with that is, though, it will not start until you hit your MRA, your minimum retirement age, which if you were born after 1970 is age 57. So if you said, hey, I can retire at age 50 with 20 years of service under this VERA, and let's say it was 50 years old, you're going to get this immediate pension, but you're going to still be eligible for the FERS supplement, but you won't be able to collect it until age 57. And that can be a problem because you've got this now 7-year gap for this additional income to start. So you got to fill it somewhere, probably going to have to go work or take another job or whatever it might be. Again, situations are different, but that's in general why I'm not normally recommending the VERA option. So what if you were to stay? Okay, I just mentioned you can collect an immediate pension, but it's going to be based on your years of service now. So let's say it was age 50 versus age 57, your minimum retirement age. What are the differences? Why wait? Why go until I'm first eligible? Well, there's a couple things here, but let's take a look at this. So if you were to wait until your MRA, and in this example, it's 7 years. I can start collecting now at age 50 with 20, we'll just say it's 23 years of service, right? 23 years of service. Why? Because then I'd be first eligible at age 57 with 30 years of service, my MRA plus 30. So let's say it was age 50 with 23 years of service. I've offered this VERA. Let's run the numbers. Well, number one, I'm going to be based on my current high 3, okay? Current high 3 and current years of service. I'm going to collect an immediate pension, yes, but it's current high 3, current years of service. no first supplement until I'm 57. So I have to wait 7 years. If I wait until my MRA at 57, that's 7 more years of service that are added onto my service calculation or my pension calculation. And I'm going to be getting pay raises over the years. So my high 3 is going to be higher, hopefully significantly higher 7 years later. So those are two things that are going to directly impact your pension calculation. More years of service, more income, or more high 3, greater high 3 to go into that calculation. So that's number one. You do have to work 7 more years in this example to get there. But number one, you're going to be collecting more in that pension. So same thing, age 50, if you took the VERA, it's an immediate pension, but it's less than the one that you're going to collect if you wait until your minimum retirement age in this example at age 57. So that's number one. Number two, you are eligible for the first supplement and you can start collecting it immediately. Immediately in this example. You don't have to wait until your MRA. You're already at your MRA, so you can start collecting that first supplement immediately. So there's no gap there. Number three, you're going to have more put in your TSP and you're going to have access to your TSP. So if you retired at age 50 with 23 years of service, you'll get the immediate pension. You have to wait for your first supplement, and TSP you'll stop contributing to it, but you won't have any access to it until you're 59 and a half. Why? Because you didn't retire after age 55. So in order to have access to your TSP without penalty from the federal government, there's usually two things. There's usually you got to wait till age 59 and a half to access it, and you won't be penalized by the IRS. But there's a rule for federal employees. If you retire full benefits at age 55 or later, you can access your TSP without that extra penalty. You still have to pay tax on anything, but without that extra penalty, right? You can Google that, check that out, fact check me on it, but you can access your TSP without penalty as long as you retire 55 or later. In this example here, at age 50, you would not have access to it without penalty. You'd have to wait till 59 and a half to access your TSP without penalty. So not only will you have 7 more years of contributions, 7 more years of government matching money, and all the interest that you can be earning, hopefully it's positive interest over those 7 years, your TSP should be a lot greater. You'd have access to it right away if you need it. And that can be an immediate thing. You don't have to wait even longer to have access to it. So look at the positives here for waiting until you're first eligible for full retirement. And in this example, we're just looking at age 50 to age 57. All of these positives, all of these things that would benefit you. Greater pension calculation because you have more years, greater high 3, immediate access to the first supplement, immediate access to TSP, plus that TSP should be greater because you've got more years, more matching money, more time to earn interest. So those are the rationales and the reasons why I would say it's beneficial or more beneficial to wait until you're eligible for full retirement instead of taking the voluntary early retirement. Now, what are the cons in this? You've got to work 7 more years in this example, right? You'd have to work more. I'm not forcing you to do that, but if you're okay with your job and you can put up with it, I'd rather be putting more time into a job where I'm collecting or generating more for my pension. I'm going to actually increase your first supplement because you're going to be putting more into Social Security. Hopefully your Social Security benefit goes up too by working more years. The first supplement will increase, and now I'm putting more into TSP. So I'm keeping it all into the same system. Again, if you've got the dream job, if something else more beneficial occurs outside and it's worth it for you to take the VERA, then by all means go for it. But in general, these are the reasons why I wouldn't recommend it because of what I'm listing here. It's going to be greater benefit for you to wait. You're going to collect more in your pension, immediate access to the first supplement, which will probably be greater at that point, and TSP will be greater. You have access to it immediately. Now, the other situation that we could run into too is, well, why not just stop at your MRA? What about waiting until age 62? And I get that question a lot too. So this wasn't part really of this conversation that I had with this federal employee. We were really just talking about taking the VERA versus when they're first eligible, but I'll throw this in here as well because it's worth talking about. If you can do it, if you can wait until age 62. Now, let's say in this example, they were first eligible at 57. Now we're talking about waiting until 62, 5 more years. They may not want to wait 5 more years, but what are the benefits of doing so? Well, the first two things that I mentioned on the last slide are still the same. High 3 is going to go up, and it's more years of service. Great. But the other part of that pension calculation, you get a little bit of a 10% boost when it comes to the pension calculation because of being age 62 or older with at least 20 years of service. Your factor from the pension calculation goes from 1% to 1.1%, a little bit extra. So that is a main benefit. Number two, the first supplement, which is generally a lot less than what you're going to be getting at age 62 with Social Security. If you wait till 62, you're Social Security eligible immediately, and you're not going to get a less of a benefit using the first supplement. So you're immediately eligible for Social Security. And then TSP, same thing. You're just going to build up more TSP. It's more years that you contribute, more years that you get the matching, more years that hopefully you get positive interest. It'll be a greater benefit for you. So if we look at those three things, right? If I'm looking at those three and I'm saying, should I take a VERA? Should I wait till I'm first eligible? Should I wait till at least age 62? Obviously, the longer you can wait, the better. It's like taking Social Security also. The longer you wait, it's going to be a greater benefit for you. But is it feasible for you? Is it the best thing for you? That's where you got to sit down and talk to a professional, talk to an expert when it comes to benefits of retirement to determine which situation would be right. In general, I'm not normally recommending the VERA. I'd say at least wait until you're first eligible. And I can say if you can stomach it, if you can do it, if you can take it, wait until 62 because you're at least 62 because you're going to get a bump in the calculation. That's not as much of a big swing for me as the gap between should I do the VERA and should I do full retirement. I'm normally 95% of the time leaning towards waiting until full retirement. And we'll run the numbers. We'll run both of them so you can see it in black and white. That's some of the reporting that we do for federal employees is we can run the VERA calculation. You can see what that looks like. And we can wait until you're first eligible for full retirement and run those numbers. And you can compare. You can see it in plain English, in black and white, so you can determine which situation is best for you and your family. So that's the VERA pros and cons, right? I mean, in my opinion, I'm not normally recommending it, but everybody's situation is different. I will say that. This is not a blanket statement that this is what you should or shouldn't do, but it's important that you run the numbers, you know all the ins and outs, you know all the variables. So when the government does offer something like this, it might look enticing and it may be right for you, but you need to do your research before you do it. Because the last thing I'd want you to do is decide on it, start collecting money in retirement and be like, this is not what I wanted. This isn't what I thought it was going to be. Know everything ahead of time, be as educated as possible so you can make the best decision. As I mentioned earlier, if you like this content, subscribe, get notified when new episodes come out, and share this with your colleagues. They need this information too. View all of our other episodes. I said there's over 140 of them, a lot of information out there for you, the federal employee. And if you want more info, you want to go over your personal situation, you want to get your questions answered, reach out to us, federalretirementshow.com. Fill out the form. We will be in touch. Thank you again for taking the time out of your busy schedule and viewing our content. We look forward to seeing you on a future episode.